in fighting the virus. Also, families trying to protect themselves from the virus forced into shelters as deadly tornadoes strike several states. Tonight, New York now reporting more than 10,000 dead, 671 deaths on Easter Sunday alone. While at the same time, the governor revealing the curve appears to be flattening. As tonight, other parts of the country are still bracing for the peak in their region. The sobering message tonight from Massachusetts governor facing their worst week yet. Chicago firefighters wearing masks at a funeral for one of their own on the front lines. And now every state in the U.S. reporting deaths from the virus. Tonight, the new move, some governors in the Northeast banding together, other governors in the West joining together too, trying to coordinate a plan to reopen their states carefully. As the president says today, he is the one who will open the country. And Dr. Anthony Fauci and what he said just moments ago, the president standing right there, about something the doctor said yesterday, that more lives could have been saved had there been more mitigation, more action earlier. And all of this tonight as a deadly tornado outbreak strikes several states, a staggering number, more than 30 dead. Families already trying to avoid getting the virus now facing this. And the dangerous winds in the Northeast, worries about the hospital tents in Central Park, and testing sites in New Jersey shut down. Also tonight, are antibody tests part of the solution in returning to work? Can the test show if you've been exposed to the virus without even knowing? Do you have immunity? And tonight, the World Health Organization and what they're now saying about immunity, saying they do not know yet whether having this once means you won't have it again. And the experimental trials we continue to follow using the blood from patients who have recovered to treat patients in desperate need of help in this country. What we've learned on that front tonight.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to be back with you on this Monday night as we start another week together. America remains in the grip of the coronavirus pandemic, and tonight a new and grim milestone. Every state now reporting deaths from the virus. Just moments ago here, the president during the briefing defending his decision-making during this pandemic, and it comes 24 hours after Dr. Anthony Fauci was pressed. Had there been mitigation earlier, he was asked, more action earlier, could more lives have been saved? Dr. Fauci said yes. Well, he took to the podium just moments ago, right next to the president, to go over his answer again. All of this as tonight across America, the coronavirus has taken more than 23,000 lives, and in hard-hit New York, a milestone, more than 10,000 deaths. But there is a glimmer of hope tonight. The daily toll now flattening, but at a staggering level. 671 deaths on Easter Sunday alone. But a more promising story from this graph right here. The number of new hospitalizations from the virus now falling each day. And today, Governor Andrew Cuomo saying the worst is over if we continue to be smart with social distancing. Tonight, inside a New York City hospital, what they're seeing right now, and those sobering words from Governor Charlie Baker of Massachusetts tonight, warning his state to brace for the worst week yet. And Pennsylvania's Governor Tom Wolf saying the surge there won't come until next week. And as I mentioned, on top of this devastating outbreak, the deadly tornado outbreak on Easter Sunday, more than 30 dead across several states. This tornado in Brooksville, Mississippi. But they hit from Texas to North Carolina, destroying homes, and so many families trying to protect themselves from the coronavirus were then forced to seek shelter together during the tornadoes. An unimaginable situation for so many, and we'll get through it all tonight. Here's ABC's Tom Yamas leading us off from New York.
Tonight, nearly a month since the first person died in New York from COVID-19, Governor Andrew Cuomo confronting a horrific milestone. More than 10,000 New Yorkers now dead of coronavirus.
The terrible news is as terrible as it gets. This is 671 people who passed away on Easter Sunday.
But even during this darkness, some light. Fewer New Yorkers are being hospitalized. Fewer are being put on ventilators. And though the death toll remains staggering, now fewer people are dying.
Those numbers say we can control the spread. Feel good about that. The worst is over. Yeah, if we continue to be smart going forward.
At Mount Sinai Hospital in Queens, Dr. Eric Bloodinger has seen a change. Just 1 week ago, the hospital was besieged.
I'm about ready to walk into the ED. We'll see what the situation's like. I heard that our volume is just exploding.
Scenes like this played out in ICUs around the city.
Things are just totally crazy right now. Everyone is COVID positive in these hallways. All you hear is oxygen.
But when we spoke to Dr. Bluttinger today, he too was sounding encouraged.
Certainly, it does feel like we are slowly turning the corner.
But as New York cases plateau and major cities like Philadelphia level off, other parts of the country are seeing spikes. In Massachusetts, Governor Charlie Baker with a warning.
I want people to realize that today is the beginning of what we expect is going to be a very difficult period.
Among the hardest hit, the elderly. More than 800 people have died in Massachusetts, and nearly 45% of them in nursing homes.
My dad's in one of those facilities, so I take this stuff pretty seriously.
The virus now claiming lives in all 50 states. In Chicago, a somber procession for a firefighter. In New York City, word 21 teachers have died. And across the country, grocery store workers, now essential to all of us, paying a terrible price. Their largest union now reporting at least 30 have perished.
This is about life or death. Workers are being exposed and they are dying.
In South Dakota, one of the nation's largest pork processing plants shutting down after nearly 240 workers tested positive. But weeks into this crisis, the conversation now turning to how and when the country can reopen. The governor of Texas was blunt.
This is not going to be a rush to the gates. Everybody is able to suddenly reopen all at once.
The CDC director saying the first step is widespread testing, something that is not yet available.
We're going to need to have that aggressively employed as we begin to reopen and to basically prevent the opportunity for community transmission to come back into the system.
Governor Cuomo also preparing for his state to take the next step.
You'll start to open that valve on the economic activity. And you'll turn that valve very slowly. And while you're opening that valve, watch the meter. What's the meter? The meter is the infection rate. And if you see that infection rate start ticking up, which would be undermining everything we have accomplished thus far, then you know you've opened the valve too fast.
New York now banding together with 6 other states to develop a joint plan to reopen the East Coast. Out west, the governors of Washington, Oregon, and California forming a similar strategic alliance. But in the nation's capital, President Trump, who resisted calls to impose a national lockdown, tweeting that when it comes to reopening the country, it's the decision of the president. Cuomo making it clear the road to recovery will be long.
It's not going to be we flick a switch and everybody comes out of their house and gets in their car and waves and hugs each other and the economy all starts up. I would love to say that's going to happen. It's not going to happen that way. It can't happen that way.
And Tom Llamas with us again tonight live here in New York. And Tom, as you know, President Trump just moments ago saying he has, quote, the ultimate authority about when the country reopens. But we know there are groups of governors on both coasts joining, coordinating their own plans. And Governor Cuomo just said there, it's not like flipping the switch. And he said today that when we do reopen, there will be new infections.
And David, that's the big fear between a lot of governors right now. They don't want to see new spikes. I was on a conference call with 6 governors from states like New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. They all want to work together. They want to work with the president, but they say they're ultimately responsible for their own states. Out on the West Coast, there's that coalition of 3 states, Oregon, Washington, California, and tomorrow, the governor of California is saying he will release a detailed plan when he wants to reopen the California economy. So many in that state are going to be looking forward to that news. David?
All right, Tom Llamas leading us off on this Monday night. Tom, thank you. And of course, all of this as those deadly tornadoes ripped across several states. Families already trying to protect themselves from the virus, suddenly finding themselves huddled together because of the storms. And in New York, worries about those hospital tents in Central Park and testing sites shut down in New Jersey. ABC's Victor Akendo in the storm zone tonight.
Tonight, relentless storms slamming the Northeast in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. A family inside their home outside New York City when this tree fell.
And it just came crashing to the ceiling. I mean, I was lucky to get out alive.
One of many families with damaged homes amid those shelter-in-place orders. Outdoor coronavirus testing facilities shut down across the region.
The high winds and driving rain made the conditions unsafe for both visitors and health workers to open today.
At that massive field hospital treating COVID patients in New York Central Park, officials confident the tents can withstand the wind.
Oh,
Oh, you can see it. It's ripping stuff up right here. Debris.
More than 50 tornadoes reported in the last 24 hours, including this one northeast of Jackson, Mississippi. In Lawrence County, Mississippi, the Sheriff's Department mourning the loss of Deputy Robert Ainsworth and his wife Paula, writing, "Robert left this world a hero as he shielded Mrs. Paula during the tornado." Chattanooga, Tennessee, taking a direct hit from an EF3 twister with winds of 145 miles per hour. The decision of whether to open shelters amid the COVID-19 pandemic faced across the region.
At the end of the day, life safety had to persist over everything else.
And in Monroe, Louisiana, where hundreds of homes were damaged.
A picture of me and my mother. My mother died a couple of years ago.
Felicia Thomas and her daughter Cynthia now picking up the pieces. They were trapped inside their decimated home with 3 young children until their neighbor, Jared Moore, came racing to the rescue.
What was your first instinct?
We gotta help them. We gotta get them out. If we don't get them out there, they're not gonna make it.
Everyone made it out safely, grateful to be alive.
The Department of Homeland Security says they are moving displaced families into local hotels instead of shelters that should help with social distancing. There's destruction everywhere you look in this neighborhood, and the mayor says it's a blessing that nobody here died. David?
Well, we're thinking about all those families tonight. Victor Oquendo, thank you. And as I mentioned at the top tonight, amid all of this, the president said just a short time ago that he was thinking about the families in the tornado zone, but he then went on to defend his decision-making in this pandemic, his administration's reaction to the virus. And Dr. Anthony Fauci at the podium moments ago as well, explaining an answer to a question that he gave yesterday, saying that earlier mitigation would have saved lives. Addressing that answer again a short time ago with the president standing right beside him. Here's ABC's Terry Moran.
It was an ominous sign. President Trump retweeting last night an attack on Dr. Anthony Fauci. The original tweet including the hashtag #TimeToFireFauci. This on the same day Fauci declared in an interview on CNN that the administration's reluctance to call for shutdowns and strong social distancing measures sooner has cost more American lives in the pandemic.
Obviously, you could logically say that if you had a process that was ongoing and you started mitigation earlier, you could have saved lives. Obviously, no one is going to deny that. But there was a lot of pushback about shutting things down back then.
And here's what Fauci said just moments ago.
I was asked a hypothetical question. And hypothetical questions sometimes can get you into some difficulty. The nature of the hypothetical question was if, in fact, we had mitigated earlier, could lives have been saved? And the answer to my question was, as I always do, and I'm doing right now, perfectly honestly, say, yes. I mean, obviously.
But Fauci went on to say that when he and Dr. Deborah Birx went to the president with their recommendations, Trump listened.
The first and only time that Dr. Birx and I went in and formally made a recommendation to the president listened to the recommendation and went to the mitigation. The next second time that I went with Dr. Birx into the president and said, 15 days are not enough. We need to go 30 days.
Dr. Fauci just a short time ago. Terry Moran with us tonight. We know the president then speaking right after Dr. Fauci, essentially defending his decision-making amid reporting from the New York Times and other outlets of early warning signs potentially missed, internal emails, notes that ended up in the presidential daily brief, warning of what this virus could turn into. And Terry, he even had a video produced showing what he says he has done during this pandemic.
He sure did, David. It was a remarkable moment showing how these briefings have been transformed into almost mini Trump rallies, a slickly produced campaign-style video trying to counter the argument and the assessment now shared by a majority of Americans. Polls showed that the president was late, that he operated slowly, that a lot of his happy talk and downplaying of the virus cost lives. That is essentially what Dr. Fauci had claimed on CNN. But as for Fauci, the president made clear, he said, I'm not going to fire him. He's a wonderful guy. He did add, however, that everything he'd done is right. David?
Terry Moran with us tonight. Terry, thank you. And now to what most Americans at home are most concerned with. How do we get back to some sort of normalcy in this country, a new normal? And are antibody tests part of that solution? Can the test show if you've been exposed to the virus without even knowing? Do you have some sort of immunity? Tonight, the World Health Organization and what they said about immunity from the virus, saying they do not know yet whether having this once means you won't have it again. Here's ABC's Matt Gutman tonight.
The World Health Organization tonight acknowledging it simply does not know if those who've had coronavirus would have immunity or if there's a chance you could get it more than once. A top official says we simply do not know.
So right now the information is mixed. We need much more information from recovered patients.
And in South Korea, a small study showing people testing positive twice. Authorities say they don't know if it's a reactivation of the virus in their body or a new infection. But here in the U.S., authorities remain hopeful that once you've had it, or at least been exposed to it, you might have some immunity. Here in California, there are now multiple trials underway to test for those antibodies, telltale proteins in the blood that show exposure to the virus. We were there as 50 firefighters among the first to be tested. But the CDC remains concerned about the accuracy and reliability of antibody tests.
Yeah, thank you.
And one clinician administering these new tests says it's possible immunity could weaken over time.
A lot of people say that the antibody test is the panacea for this virus, but you're saying it's not quite.
From what we've seen, we don't know.
If the antibodies disappear after a certain period of time, we believe that means theoretically you lose that immunity.
You could be susceptible to a second infection.
Meantime, tonight, the race is on to help the most severe patients still fighting for survival. We have reported here the FDA has fast-tracked an experimental treatment that allows patients who've had the virus and recovered to donate their blood. It's called convalescent plasma. Jason Garcia is a patient in San Diego who recovered from the virus.
You're given a plasma donation to help other critical need patients.
Hopeful an age-old technique, once used after the Spanish flu of 1918, will work again.
It's such a small thing to have such a huge impact.
He's donated to 3 patients, one of whom doctors say has shown remarkable improvement. And in Florida tonight, 52-year-old Kevin Rathel was on a ventilator, in a coma, and near death. And just 4 days ago, he started receiving donor plasma, and last night, his wife Stacy got a surprise from their doctor. A FaceTime call with her husband.
And we just started talking to him. I told him, I said, Kevin, you've been asleep for a week. It's time to wake up. It's Easter morning, and God has performed a miracle. You need to come home to us, and we love you. We're waiting for you.
It is so good to see Kevin emerging from that coma, but at this point, his doctors are yet unwilling to draw a correlation between that plasma treatment and his apparent recovery. They say while the